Super exciting update, the Mini 3 Pro is back on the channel. So I was kind of out of the main drone that I'm using on the channel for a period of time. Due to various reasons, it took a while to get a hold of a new one. So here it is, so no excuses for not making any more Mini 3 Pro videos. I know there are many of you out there that have considered buying a drone like this. And this might be your first drone, so it might be a little bit intimidating for you once you get the package in the door, what is going to happen next. And because this is a brand new unit, so I thought it would be fun to shoot this video and take you through the process of basically unboxing everything, getting it set up and ready to fly. There are multiple configurations of the Mini 3 Pro, and I picked up the version without the RC included. And the reason for that is that I have one or several of these laying around, and there's no reason to pay the extra money to get that if you already have the remote. That's the whole purpose behind the smart controller, that you will be able to use this controller for multiple devices. So this one is from one of the other drones that I have. This is the base unit, and I also got hold of the Flymore kit that includes the charging hub, 2 extra batteries, 4 sets of extra props, cable, USB-C cable, as well as the traditional bag that you get with these Flymore kits. DJI is starting to release ND fillers. Maybe they've done that all the time, but they have this little convenient kit here with 3 filters, that is ND16, 64 and 256, which are very, very useful when you're out in the field filming in bright sunlight. So let's dive into the box and see what you would be getting. And if it's a brand new unit, there's a seal here, like a small green sticker here that you need to remove. This is my warranty that this is a brand new unit that has not been tampered with other than DJI before you receive it. When I open the box, you have the traditional insert here. And in this case, it's very, very simple because the remote is not included. So you have the drone. It's nicely tucked in this bag. You have it with the gimbal cover in front, which you need to remove before you fly. There's a small piece of cardboard that fixates the props. So this is basically your main unit with a single battery inserted. You will get a battery as part of the delivery because otherwise you won't be able to fly your drone. It's with the Flymore kit, you get additional battery to extend your flight time. A really good tip is always to keep the retail box of the drone in case you want to sell it later. It's a lot more convincing if you want to sell it and ship it if you still have this original box. Which reminds me that my wife is often getting crazy about all the boxes that I'm storing around the house for stuff that I've been purchasing. But still, it's a pretty good idea. Before we unfold the actual drone, let's take a deep dive into the box here and see what else we are getting. We have the traditional USB-C to USB-C cable, a set of spare props. We have the mandatory screwdriver in case that you need to fix them, because the props are screw mounted on the smaller drones from DJI. Apart from that, there's nothing else interesting in here. Just pacing through the documentation that is delivered with the drone, there's like an umweltfreundliche Entsorgung recycling information for Germany. We don't need that, I'm not in Germany. There's a quick start guide that would just help you get started. There's a little folder called Share the Skies, which is basically some stuff that you need to think about when you're flying. Some more rule stuff. That's kind of new that they are including all this. More rule stuff and recommendations. But in general, it's not the task of DJI to provide that information and make sure that that is accurate. You need to look up your local laws and regulations to make sure that you comply with everything. This is, by the way, part of the curriculum in the latest course that I've been releasing about drone planning and flight that will make you drone like a pro. And finally, a folder about the DJI safety guidelines. That's basically some hints or some tips. Covers some important topics about flight environment and flight operations. So basically, if you're new to the hobby and have no clue what you're doing, then I would recommend that you study at least the quick start guide as well as the Mini 3 Pro safety guidelines. Let's take a closer look at the drone. Let's pop off the gimbal protector here. And then we can simply unfold the arms of the drone by doing this. So we have a full extended Mini 3 Pro. And when you first get the unit delivered, it's kind of plastered with all sorts of stickers that you need to remove. You need to remove at least some of those stickers before you go out and fly. The first one we will remove is the one that secures the gimbal, and there's a small piece of foam behind the gimbal that serves the purpose as protecting the gimbal during, basically rough transportation. This is not something that you need to put in every time. It's enough just to use the gimbal protector. But there are these yellow snippets here. You just pull in one of those and then you can remove the stickers that surrounds the camera. Like this. So if we flip it to the back side, to the battery door, there's a sticker there as well that is put on top of the battery. Remove that. And then we basically check the drone if we have removed every sticker that is in here. And then you can take out the battery by simply pinching here on each side on these levers. So you can take out the battery like this. But if you haven't purchased the Flymore combo, you would need to leave the battery inside the drone and use the provided USB-C cable to charge the battery while it's inserted in the drone. When you initially receive the drone, you can see if I press the button here to show you the battery status through the 4 LEDs on the top here, you see there's absolutely no charge on the drone. Unpacking your drone, it's a little bit discouraging because you really want to get out and try it, is that you need to charge it first. And that takes around an hour before we are up and running there. And the same goes for the batteries that are included in the Flymore kit. But luckily I have the Mini 3, so I have batteries laying around that's fully charged that will fit into the Pro model. So let's just grab one of those. And if I plug that one in here, you can see if I press it here, you can see the drone is fully charged. Also, another thing that you need to know is there's no charger included with either the drone or the Flymore kit. You need to buy that separately, either through DJI or provide one by yourself if you have one laying around. And as you saw, I also have the ND filters that are provided with DJI. They are equally sealed with this green strip. So I'm sure that nobody has tampered with the product before I get it. You can see you get this little tiny box that's very easy to bring along with the 3 filters, the ND16, the 64 and the 256. They are very easy to replace. You simply just hold the drone like this and then you twist the front and then you can take off the the lens protector and you can replace it with one of the ND filters. When, where and how to use these filters, that's a separate discussion that is outside the scope of this video. So now the drone is basically ready to be fired up for the first time. But before we get to that, let's just jump into the Flymore kit. So in case that you purchase that one as well, you know what you will be getting. There is a seal. I love those seals. So when we open it, you basically have the bag that will be able to carry everything that you need to bring on a mission. I find this bag sometimes to be a little bit too small, so I often use something else. But for the most of us, this is actually a pretty handy solution. If I open it, you can see there's more paperwork here. We don't want to spend time on that. But there are the famous charging hub. You can see this is the charging hub that will allow you to basically charge 3 batteries sequentially. And there's also an outlet here that will allow you to hook up a USB-A that you can then connect through the USB-C port that's in the bottom of the RC remote. So you can charge everything in one single go. But as I said, it happens sequentially, so it will not charge the batteries in parallel, but at least you can leave it sitting somewhere until it's done charging. And you will have everything fully charged, 3 batteries and a remote. The rest of the stuff that you'll be getting with the kit is hidden here in the top pouch. And there's 2 sets of extra propellers and the USB-A to USB-C cable that can be put into the charging dock. Pouches of silica gel that will keep everything dry. You don't need those. They can be put aside. So let's just put the bag aside. We can pack it at the end of this video so I can just show you that everything fits inside there. But let's get down to business and get everything fired up so we can see that it's working. Now you have been charging everything and everything is up to full speed. So basically the drone is fully charged. The remote is fully charged. So we start by powering on the remote. And for me to be able to show you what's going on, I've decided that I want to screen record everything that happens on the screen. I can do that with the built-in screen recorder. It does require you to mount a SD card in the remote as far as I recall. So I've made sure that I've done that. So I simply just press the key here, the round key here, and then this little counter in the base of the screen will start counting. This can be relocated to any position on the screen, so it doesn't interfere with any of the graphical elements that you want to touch on the screen. And it also shows you that the screen recording is ongoing, so it records basically everything that I'll be doing on the screen here. It makes it a lot easier for me to show you what's going on. Then next, I will be firing up the drone. And you get the characteristic ding, and it's doing all sorts of stuff here. See, it's moving the gimbal. Maybe you can't see that. But it's doing all sorts of operations with the gimbal to make sure that it has free movement in all the directions that the camera can move. And once it's done with that, it's basically ready to be paired. If you bought a system where you have the remote as part of the package, you would be able to skip this pairing step because it's already prepared inside the bag. In this case, where I already had the remote, I would need to go into the connection guide here, and then I would need to scroll to the drone that I would be using. And in this case, it's the Mini 3 Pro, and it says something with inconsistent firmware, so it's doing some updates. And this is very likely to happen because the firmware that's on the drone that you will be receiving is slightly different from what's already running there. So you should simply just follow the instructions here. And it says that I need to restart the device. I will most likely make videos that will cover all the features in details of the drone as well as the remote. So if you're not already a subscriber to the Tech Drone Media channel, then I would suggest to consider that so you don't miss out on these follow-up videos. All right, let's start the screen recorder again. Move it up here. So what I need to do now is I need to press the connection guide. Then I need to scroll until I find the Mini 3 Pro. Then I press the screen there. Then it's searching for the aircraft. And we have already done the 3 steps by unfolding the front and rear aircraft arms, remove the gimbal protector, and we have powered on the drone. And then you say unable to connect to the aircraft, and then you get into this pairing screen. And once you're here, you can see press and hold the power button on the underside of the aircraft. It's not the underside, it's the upper side of the drone. If it's on the underside, you have a different problem. And then you need to hold it for 4 seconds until it starts beeping. Like this. And then you basically press pair here. And then the pairing sequence starts. And they should be able to sort of find each other. It takes a while. This was like 10 seconds. And see, now it has a connection and it stops scrolling over here. So, and you're getting into all sorts of stuff here, interesting stuff. First thing that you need to be aware of is if you're considering buying DJI's DJI Care Refresh, this is a very, very important time of your purchase, because from the time where you press agree here, this is where the timer starts. And then you only have 48 hours to activate the DJI Care Refresh for the drone. You can do it afterwards, but then they have all sorts of requirements for you to provide documentation. So pay attention to that one. Once you activate the drone, the clock starts counting down. 48 hours you have to decide if you want to buy the DJI Care Refresh. And if you don't know what that is, that's in short like a bulletproof insurance that will cover you even if the drone flies away, you crash it into a wall or stuff like that. And if it's a user error, you will be able to get a replacement drone if you pay a fee to DJI. For additional details about that, I made sure to leave a link in the description below. So now we activate the drone and we will most likely run into issues here. Or maybe not, because this one has already been connected to Wi-Fi, because that's another important thing. You can't activate the drone without Wi-Fi access. So make sure that you pull down like I did here. You simply pull down from the top and make sure that the Wi-Fi icon is active. And the remote is basically hooked up to your local Wi-Fi. Otherwise, you will not be able to perform this step. And there you can see you have the DJI Care Refresh. You have 2 replacements, free 2-way shipping, water damage coverage, and flyaway coverage. So if you are a little bit uncertain and new to the hobby and want to protect your investment, then this might be a good idea. It also confirms that you have to purchase it within 48 hours. In case you decide not to do that, you simply press skip. Then you're getting into the next screen, and if there's a new firmware available, which there likely will be as those have been stored in a box for a longer period of time, so you need to update the firmware for the drone. And this can be a kind of a long and tedious process because if you're using the DJI RC, you're probably getting multiple updates in one go. So this can be maybe 800-900 megabytes, and depending on your internet speed, this will take quite a while to get this update done. But this is definitely something that you need to do because it often includes bug fixes and a lot of maybe the latest features that are available. So you should definitely do that. And make sure that you keep everything powered on while you do the update. And make sure that you don't do it in a location that is too hot, because you might run into problems with the drone shutting down due to overheating because it has no fans inside. So this is a fanless design and it's already getting really maybe hot to the touch, so that might cause a problem and prevent it from completing the firmware update. So make sure that you keep it at a cold location, maybe preferably outside in the shade. So we were lucky, now the drone is rebooting and we keep an eye on the interface. It still says 96% left. So firmware update successfully, restart if device powers off automatically. And this is exactly what happened now. The drone simply powers off. So you need to repower it manually. One short press, one long press. So once the drone has been rebooted, you can simply just press the cross here in the corner. Then you're getting back into the DJI Fly app front screen. It also tells you that the Fly Safe requires an update. And this is basically DJI's database of where you're allowed to fly and where you're not allowed to fly. Don't trust that information too much. Check up on your local conditions because there might be deviations and it's not always a DJI that carries the truth. It is the local authorities. So you need to make sure that, that one is on top. Yeah, so you can see if I just press here, it's basically repeating the same type of update process with the wheel that goes around here, counting up. Again, you need to be connected to Wi-Fi for this to happen. There's surprisingly many steps that you have to go through. It's almost as complicated as picking up a rental car in the airport. It's pretty straightforward. Now it says update successfully. Yes, so now this one is done. There are no more things that we need to do apart from me not being able to hit the crosshair. Okay, we just leave that one. Then I can simply press Go Fly, and then you should see a camera feed from the drone. And there's a camera feed. So now you're basically ready to go and take your first flight. But if you find that pretty intimidating and you're really scared that something will happen to your drone, I have developed some tailored flight exercises for you that will help you on that journey. This will basically allow you to go outside, pick the right location, set up a virtual fence that will protect the drone while you're practicing, as well as limit the speed of an operation of the drone. And it will allow you to try the basic functionality in a safe and secure way. By the release of this video, I'm not sure that this flight exercise is available, but if it is, I'll make sure to link it from up here somewhere, or at least I will include some information in the description below. This will make your first flight a very safe and pleasant experience. Or you will get your money back. Okay, so right now you just saw what I mentioned before is that we ended up in an overheating issue. It was getting quite hot here on the top. So what it basically says in the interface is that the aircraft has been sitting for an extended period of time, powering off automatically. Wait until aircraft cools down. This is not something that you need to worry about when you're flying around, but something when you are updating software or just sitting here like I'm doing inside recording a video for you guys. Then this can happen. One final thing that I would recommend you to do is to go under profile here, log into your DJI account. In case that you don't have a DJI account, you can very easily create it. I have one. Surprise! I have one. So I simply just tap in here, and then I have read and accepted all the terms in use. And I will type in my password, which I will not show you. Then it says login successfully. And that will basically take all the flight logs, all the flight data when you're out flying and store it under a single account. So I would definitely recommend that you do that before you go out flying. Before you go on location, let's pack everything up in the Flymore kit so you see that everything fits nicely in there. Also note, you need an SD card. In this case, I'm using a 128 gigabyte SanDisk Extreme Pro. Make sure to mount that in the drone before you go on location, otherwise you might end up being very disappointed. So we start by the drone powered off itself because of heat, so we just power off the remote here. And then we start by folding in the arms here of the drone. Like this. And then we make sure that we mount the gimbal cover. We basically do that by placing the gimbal somewhere here. And then we slide the cover below it. Like this. And then it simply just clicks into these two tabs. Then the gimbal is nicely protected in here. It's rattling a little bit, but it's supposed to be protected. And if you have a hard time getting the gimbal cover in place, you can use the piece of foam that was provided for shipping. And simply just slide that here in the back side of the gimbal to keep it in a fixed position. Then it's very, very easy to put the gimbal cover on like this and just snap it in. But make sure to remove the foam before you power on the drone, as you will get a gimbal motor overload warning in case that you don't. So now we have the remote, the drone, we have the ND filters, we have the spare batteries, we have all the extra propellers and the screwdriver. Maybe we need to bring the cable. You can see that the drone fits very nicely here in the first compartment. We can slide in the filters in this one. We can put our accessories up here, including the cables. We can actually, I know some of you won't like it, but you can leave the sticks on the remote. We need to play nice today, so we unscrew the sticks to make sure that nothing happens to the remote. And then we simply put them in the cradles here on the back of the remote. It's a snug fit, but we simply slide it in here so it stays nicely positioned here. And this way you can carry it around and you have everything in close proximity when you need it. Simply close the back. So, remove the plastic here. Then you have a very nice compact bag. Oh, let's just remove this. Don't want to look like a complete amateur with all the stickers on. So, you have a nice compact bag here that you can bring along. So now you're technically fully equipped to go out and take your first flight. Maybe you're wondering, what are the rules around a drone like this? And what should I do and what shouldn't I do? And in case that you live in Europe, I made a short summary of the common rules for drones below 250 grams. And you'll be able to access that through this card. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then feel free to give a like. If you didn't like it, feel free to press the dislike button twice. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you around.